Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to go a little bit deeper into our primary success metrics, analyzing them, making really good decisions based on them. So we kind of back with this example we have pulled up where we set our columns, we kind of laid it out. Now, in this particular example, the focus here is a lead and a consult, okay? This business model was based on generating a lead and then those leads buying a consult. So we understood that with confidence that $15 or less on a lead is a big win. And technically speaking, out of those leads, if we're getting consults for $200 or less, we're winning in this instance. But primarily the way we're making a decision in this account is we know with confidence from the data that anything less than $15 is where we want to pour all out. We want to continue spending money in these areas. So armed with that knowledge, we're going to go into this account and then we're going to look at on a campaign by campaign basis to dictate where the opportunities are. So let's kind of jump into that really quickly. So number one, we're going to look at the account level, and then we want to dig a little deeper. We're going to look at the campaign level. So if we jump into a campaign level, for example, we can see that, the way we set it up is one campaign, one ad group, one ad. It's kind of what we taught you guys. But more importantly, you would click into your ad group. And now what we want to start looking at is we want to start looking at the different ways that we can break down this data, starting with demographics. So as you can see in this particular one, we've already identified our key age groups here where we've excluded the rest of them. Same thing with gender. Go down here with gender, we can see we've excluded male and unknown. We only focused on females because we have that data from previous ads where we knew we wanted to really dial in on these. So you can see like our number, our cost per conversion at a 1081, that's well below our $15. We ain't really got to do nothing. We're just going to keep running this. Parental status, you can see these numbers are pretty good across the board. Not a lot to change. Same thing with household income. Again, if these numbers were out of whack, I would exclude them. In this instance, these numbers are great, so we're just going to kind of run with them. But I do want to show you another strategy that I think, may help. So if we go down here to this placements tab, as you can see here, because of the way that we're running this account, we're not running placements per se, but what we can do is see where our ads were shown, which is really, really valuable. So you click on this, you can see, okay, where our ads were shown. Now, I already have these filters here. So let me remove these filters really quick so to show you why I'm putting these filters in here. So I'm going to click out. I'm going to go back out. And now it's going to show me all of the places where our ads have run. And as you can see, I can sort this by cost. I can sort it by cost per conversion. I can sort it by any metric that I really want. But right now I'm just looking at like success metrics primarily. I can go over here and I can sort by cost per conversion. But basically what I like to use is filters. So you can actually do this at every other level as well. You can filter based on all of these different metrics. So in this instance, we know what our success metric is. We know that if we pay more than $15, that's not going to be good. So we're going to go and say cost. In this instance, we're going to say cost per conversion greater than 15. We're going to click apply. And it's going to isolate all of the particular placements that our ads are running against that is outside of that range. Now, here's the other thing about that. You need statistically significant data. So in this instance, a $15 cost per lead, I would say I'm going to multiply that number by at least 3 to 5 in order to make a decision on killing something. Because, for example, if I go down here and I say, we spent $15 on this one placement right here, but we only got one conversion, And because it's $15.65, I'm going to kill that. That's not really critical thinking in the way you want to think about it. You want to give it enough time before you kind of identify that. So in this instance, if I was to 3 to 5 that, I would be looking at somewhere between $45 and $75 on the low end to say, okay, I've spent enough on this particular placement now. I want to, exclude it out of my campaign. So in this instance, I would use, instead of 100, let's stick with 75. I think that's a pretty good round number. That's 15 times 5, right? If you're not as aggressive, maybe you go times 3. I recommend at least, if you haven't spent at least 3x your target cost, you don't really know what's going to happen in the next, right? Because I'm 15. What about the next 15? I might get 2 conversions. So if you haven't spent enough yet, you want to be careful you don't isolate stuff that may start off slow and really take off. But you do want to isolate things where you've spent enough to make a decision. So in this instance, I'm going to say we know our success metric is 15. We are a little bit more aggressive, so we're going to say 15 times 5. That's going to put us at $75. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, show me cost per conversion over $15 and cost more than $75. Click apply. And now what it's going to do is I'm going to see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 instances here where I'm going to kill these. I'm going to exclude these. So you can say exclude from ad group. You can do exclude from campaign level. Usually we're doing campaign level exclusion. But basically I'm going to go in here and I see now I've spent enough data to know I don't want to pay $40 a conversion. That number is out of my wheelhouse. And we spent $120. Chances are this particular placement is not probably going to ever turn around for us. That's enough data for me to decide I should probably exclude that. Immediately what's going to happen when you do this is going to make this campaign more profitable because now the system isn't serving your ads on placements that aren't hitting your numbers. You're isolating the ones that are outside of your range. You can improve a campaign just alone by doing this, right? This is the point of this. And not just here, you can do this at any other point in your ad account. But that's the approach and that's the concept that I really want you to take away is have enough data to know what I should exclude because now I can make this particular campaign even more profitable. Since it's already working for me, I can make it work even better by getting rid of the things that don't work. And that's why I'm pointing all of this out because all of these different levels of things that you can get rid of is real easy to do when you know your success metrics. You can log in and you can see, especially when you have your conversion value. So in the instance where your conversion value is here, not only will you look at your cost per conversion, you can also see the money in, money out. And you can easily make that decision right here and say, you know what? Don't show my ads on these placements anymore because it's just not hitting the numbers that I want. And you can get rid of that. That's really the value of this. And that's really how you do this when it comes to your success metrics and making decisions about what to kill. And you just want to continually doing this weekly. I would say weekly, depending on your business. I wouldn't get too caught up in the day by day, from one day to the next, because things can fluctuate. You want to have a good amount of data before you make these decisions. That's why I just gave you a rule of thumb. Like I said, we know our target number at the high end is 15, and then we multiply that by 5 and say, if we haven't spent at least $75 in one of these areas, we're not making a decision yet until we know we've hit at least that amount and at least and whether or not we hit our metric or not. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. And this is like really critical of doing this on a regular, I would say week by week basis, because this is really the secret sauce of how we scale campaigns. We take campaigns, we find campaigns that we can improve, we get them working, and then we stack more of them on. And really the goal is, how many of these campaigns can I stack together so I can scale my spend and I can still hit my numbers and I can get the returns and I can run really profitably. That's really kind of the core message that I want you to take away. So as a reminder, your success metrics that we talked about early on is your cost per acquisition, which can be a lead or a purchase, right? So that's what CPA. You can say CPL if you want as well, or CPP. Some people use that, cost per purchase. But technically, to me, cost per acquisition is the key metric, whether that's a lead or a purchase. And then your next metric is your AOV, which may apply to some of you and may not, depending on your business model. And then your LTV is your lifetime customer value, which every business should have that. So the way I'm making decisions right now, I want to remind you that, remember, our strategy is more focused on LTV. The main numbers that I'm trying to capture today is what is my conversion value at the point of acquisition, right? So those are the numbers that I want to make decisions based off of. Long term, for example, if I get a customer today from my ads, but they buy something from me 2 months from now, we're not trying to get that data back into Google, because we're literally just making decisions on, you see my ad, you click it, you get into my funnel, you purchase. How much revenue am I collecting today? That's called your AOV. That's your average order value. That number is going to be more along the lines of your money in, money out. Now, you won't see that per se in your ad account specifically broken down, but that number is pretty much the same as what did I spend, what did I make? And if you take all the orders that you took and all of the money that you made and divided that out, that's how you would get that number. So it's not going to necessarily be in your ad account, but you need to understand what that number is, like we talked about. And then your LTV is how much money are people going to spend with me over time. So what happens now is I'm looking at cost per acquisition today, and I'm making a decision on. And as of right now, if I were to break even with this particular instance, I know that if I sell anything in the future, that money is all gravy, because my goal right now is to recoup as much of my ad spend today as possible. And that's really kind of what the whole our deal is really designed around. But in this particular instance, we're really focused on cost per acquisition in terms of a lead because of the business model. So we have these other models that we discuss in other modules. You want to make sure you evaluate those, but just remember your success metrics are the key thing that you're going to focus on. And in this particular instance, cost per acquisition is the key metric that we're dialed in right now to make the decisions that we're making. So to summarize, just to kind of drive this home, we're using our primary success metrics to really kind of determine, keep or kill decisions, like how we make those decisions. I talked about the 3X to 5X. It's like, what are we hitting? Where are we not hitting? What do we keep doing? What do we stop doing? That's kind of the overarching part that we're focused on now. The next thing I want to talk to you about in the next lesson is how we make decisions around our creative. So that was going to be a little bit different from this one, but I think you're going to find a lot of value in that. Okay, so action item now, you want to actually evaluate your success metrics like we talked about. You want to start making decisions based on those. And what I recommend you do, if you haven't done this yet, as an action item, is go into your ad account and click through all of these different tabs that you just saw me go through, right? Set up your columns so that you can see this data in these areas. And that way you can familiarize yourself of where you're going to be looking for opportunities for optimization.